Majority of China is powered by coal, but they're going all in on nuclear, they're going all in on hydro, they're going all in on solar, they're going all in on gas. I mean, they're just doing everything.
Yeah, which is fantastic, but you have sort of politicians going off there on all expenses paid trips.
Straight away on what Prince Harry did.
Of course.
Let's do that as a start, and maybe let's direct it directly to Prince Harry. Harry, stop being such a hypocrite, which is going to take 1,000 trees to offset over the course of an entire 12 months. Absolutely.
He's in his California mansion. We've all seen the garden.
Absolutely. The whole thing, absolutely ridiculous.
Did you notice that a certain Prince Harry flew from LA all the way to Shanghai to apparently promote greener travel?
Or did he fly in an aeroplane?
I think it was a jet, don't you, Tom?
Prince Harry is once again at the center of a firestorm. And this time, the internet isn't holding back. The controversy erupted after Harry boarded a private jet to attend a climate change summit in China. Yes, a summit aimed at reducing carbon emissions. The irony? It's absolutely scorching. Critics immediately pounced, calling it a textbook case of do as I say, not as I do. This wasn't just a small, last-minute trip. According to rumors, Harry was flown in on a customized carbon-heavy aircraft, while simultaneously advocating for more eco-friendly alternatives to air travel. The hypocrisy practically flew itself. Social media went nuclear. The hashtag #hypocrite, Harry began trending within hours. Thousands of users called him out for demanding change while refusing to make even the most basic personal compromises. One viral tweet read, "Prince Harry wants us to ride bikes while he burns jet fuel like it's on sale."
But I got all 15 signatures.
Wow. They signed it with pens, yes?
Brutal, but it struck a chord. Prince Harry is once again at the center of a firestorm, and this time the internet isn't holding back. The controversy erupted after Harry boarded a private jet to attend a climate change summit in China. Yes, a summit aimed at reducing carbon emissions. The irony? It's absolutely scorching. Critics immediately pounced, calling it a textbook case of do as I say, not as I do. This wasn't just a small, last-minute trip. According to rumors, Harry was flown in on a customized, carbon-heavy aircraft, while simultaneously advocating for more eco-friendly alternatives to air travel. The hypocrisy practically flew itself. Social media went nuclear. The hashtag hypocrite, Harry began trending within hours. Thousands of users called him out for demanding change while refusing to make even the most basic personal compromises. One viral tweet read, "Prince Harry wants us to ride bikes while he burns jet fuel like it's on sale." Brutal, but it struck a chord. And the backlash isn't just limited to armchair critics. Environmental scientists and climate activists also chimed in, many of whom had previously supported the prince's green initiatives. According to rumors, several organizations are now reconsidering their affiliations with Harry's Travelyst project, which promotes sustainable tourism. Some even claimed they felt misled by his messaging. It's not the first time this pattern has emerged. Over the past few years, Harry and Meghan have repeatedly made headlines for allegedly preaching values they don't practice.
Team in 2003 in the Telstra Stadium at the World Cup final.
Did you get it?
After a few drinks, wearing an England rugby top, I was walking around going, Johnny, Mike, Lawrence, come on, sign my shirt. And they were all there standing there naked with their willies hanging out.
From lavish homes and security details to exclusive events in private villas, the optics haven't always aligned with the couple's public mission of humility and environmental awareness. This latest incident just poured fuel on the fire. Pun fully intended. Even mainstream outlets began raising their eyebrows. One UK columnist bluntly stated, "It's difficult to take Prince Harry seriously as a climate crusader when he treats the skies like his personal Uber. Ouch." And just as this scandal was picking up steam, South Park saw the perfect opening. Just when you thought things couldn't get more humiliating for Prince Harry, South Park stepped in and absolutely roasted him. In a now infamous episode titled The Worldwide Privacy Tour, the animated series unleashed a savage parody of Harry and Meghan that had fans screaming with laughter and royals fuming in silence. According to rumors, the Duke and Duchess were completely blindsided by how viciously the show mocked them. South Park portrayed Harry and Meghan as fame-hungry hypocrites who storm around the world screaming for privacy, while literally waving signs that say, "We want our privacy," on talk shows, TV interviews, and parades. the not-so-subtle jab that the couple wants attention on their terms, and only when it suits their narrative. The parody wasn't just comedic gold, it was scathing social commentary. The characters, clearly modeled after Harry and Meghan, were shown yelling about oppression and mistreatment from their giant mansion. One scene showed the cartoon Harry releasing a memoir called Wah, a not-so-thinly veiled shot at Spare, his real-life bestseller filled with royal grievances. Viewers couldn't believe how far South Park went. Even longtime fans of the show said this episode pulled no punches. Social media exploded with clips and quotes. One post read, "South Park just ended Harry and Meghan's credibility in 22 minutes flat. It wasn't just a cartoon, it was a cultural takedown." According to rumors, insiders close to the Sussexes were furious. Meghan was allegedly obsessed with the episode and demanded it be taken down. Though there's no legal action on record, some even claimed she saw it as a personal attack, not just a joke. Critics, however, pointed out that public figures, especially those who voluntarily sign Netflix deals and write tell-all memoirs, should expect satire. One US host even said, "If you're getting parodied by South Park, congratulations! You're officially part of pop culture. But if you can't laugh at yourself, maybe stop giving people material." For many viewers, the episode didn't just mock Harry and Meghan, it confirmed what they'd already suspected, that the couple might not be as misunderstood as they claim, just incredibly skilled at controlling the spotlight. And speaking of that spotlight, things only got darker behind the scenes. Behind the smiles, the designer dresses, and the carefully curated interviews lurked a storm of whispers, and they weren't flattering. According to royal insiders, Meghan Markle's time inside the palace walls wasn't all glitz and glamour. In fact, rumors say that multiple staff members behind the scenes felt like they were living in a nightmare. Former aides have allegedly referred to working with Meghan as dealing with a narcissistic sociopath. Words so intense, they shocked even the most hardened royal watchers. The term was reportedly used in private WhatsApp chats between staffers who, according to leaks, described daily life with Meghan as emotional warfare. The Duchess's alleged behavior caused what some called an exodus, staff members walking out or being reassigned in rapid succession. One former royal employee reportedly said, "She was impossible to please. It was always about control, power, and ego." Others claimed they were frequently reduced to tears. One aide, in particular, said Meghan's attitude left her sobbing on the floor after being berated. Another claimed Meghan demanded impossible schedules, texting aides as early as 5 a.m. and expecting responses within minutes. A third insider said her moods were icy one minute, warm the next. You never knew what you were walking into. It got so intense that senior royal staff reportedly coined a nickname for her, Me-Gain, a not-so-subtle dig at what they saw as her self-centered, ambition-fueled behavior. And these weren't just whispers in dark corridors. Multiple official bullying complaints were reportedly submitted during her time at Kensington Palace. Though Meghan has strongly denied the claims, her lawyers called it a calculated smear campaign, released just before her explosive Oprah interview aired. Still, the palace launched an internal investigation. While the results were quietly buried, with no official report made public, insiders believe the findings were damaging enough to trigger serious HR reforms within royal staffing systems. The silence around that investigation? Deafening. Some say it was to protect Meghan, others argue it was to protect the institution itself, avoiding another PR scandal at all costs. But the damage was already done. A growing number of royal watchers began to ask, was Meghan's Hollywood ambition just too much for the monarchy to handle? Because even after leaving royal life, the drama followed. When Meghan Markle and Prince Harry sat down with Oprah Winfrey in that now infamous garden interview, the world paused. What unfolded over the next hour wasn't just a tell-all. It was a bombshell that ripped through Buckingham Palace like a lightning strike. Millions tuned in, expecting revelations. But no one saw this level of drama coming. From the very first moment, Meghan didn't hold back. She spoke of silencing, racism, and feeling so isolated inside the royal family that she didn't want to be alive anymore. Her words were raw, emotional, and heartbreaking, but it was the allegation of racism that truly sent shockwaves around the globe. Meghan claimed that while she was pregnant with Archie, there were private conversations within the royal family about how dark his skin might be. Oprah, visibly stunned, asked, "What? Who said that?" But Meghan wouldn't name names, only saying the remarks didn't come from the Queen or Prince Philip. That vague, explosive accusation triggered a media firestorm. In the days that followed, Buckingham Palace issued a carefully worded statement. Recollections may vary, but the issues raised, particularly that of race, are concerning. It was a diplomatic response, but it didn't stop the backlash. British tabloids exploded. American media doubled down. And behind the scenes, royal insiders were scrambling. According to royal sources, the Queen was deeply hurt by the interview, while Prince William was reportedly furious, telling reporters, "We are very much not a racist family." But Meghan wasn't done. She accused palace officials of refusing to correct false tabloid stories about her, even when they knew the truth. She also claimed she was told Archie wouldn't receive a royal title or security. Meghan said she begged for help with her mental health, only to be turned away. As the interview unfolded, Prince Harry joined in, confirming many of Meghan's claims and adding his own wounds to the mix. He said his father, Prince Charles, stopped taking his calls and that he felt trapped inside the system. Together, Meghan and Harry painted a picture of a cold, outdated, and ruthless institution, one that chewed them up and spat them out when they no longer fit the narrative. The world was divided. Some praised the couple for finally speaking their truth. Others accused them of betraying the monarchy and seeking attention. But no matter which side you were on, one thing was clear. The Oprah interview changed everything. It burned bridges. It exposed cracks in the royal image. And it solidified Meghan and Harry's place, not as royals, but as global celebrities unafraid to challenge the crown itself. After the Oprah interview left Buckingham Palace reeling, Meghan and Harry didn't slow down. They accelerated. The couple had officially cut ties with their royal duties, and now they were ready to control their own narrative. The weapon of choice? A multi-million-dollar deal with none other than Netflix. According to rumors, the streaming giant handed Meghan and Harry a deal estimated at $100 million, a jaw-dropping figure that sent Hollywood into a frenzy. But this wasn't just about money. This was strategy. Meghan and Harry were no longer just former royals. They were now producers, creators, and storytellers in charge of their own legacy. Their production company, Archewell Productions, promised content that informs, elevates, and inspires. And it didn't take long for the duo to make waves. In December 2022, Netflix dropped the long-awaited Harry and Meghan docuseries, and it was explosive. Across 6 episodes, viewers got an inside look at their love story, their exit from royal life, and the pain they claim was inflicted by both the media and the monarchy. The tone was intimate, emotional, and yes, very calculated. But it worked. The series smashed records, becoming Netflix's biggest documentary debut at the time. Millions around the world watched every frame, from Harry's raw commentary about institutional gaslighting to Meghan's teary moments recounting online hate, tabloid lies, and royal coldness. And then came the clips the palace didn't want public. One moment stood out. Harry saying, "They were happy to lie to protect my brother. They were never willing to tell the truth to protect us." That statement, many believe, was a direct shot at Prince William and the royal PR machine. The documentary painted Harry and Meghan as victims of an establishment that was more concerned with optics than family. It even touched on the infamous rift between the brothers. And while they didn't name names, the shade was obvious. But this wasn't just revenge, it was branding. According to Hollywood insiders, Meghan saw this docuseries as a reintroduction to the world, not as a duchess, but as a visionary. And Harry? He was finally free to speak without royal constraints, and he did so loudly. Critics accused the couple of hypocrisy, slamming them for demanding privacy while launching a global documentary. But the numbers don't lie. The world was hooked. Whether you loved them or hated them, Harry and Meghan had transformed into content juggernauts, rewriting the royal rulebook and cashing in on their story like never before. But while the Netflix deal was their biggest flex yet, it wasn't their last. After conquering Netflix with record-breaking numbers, Meghan and Harry seemed unstoppable. But then came the Spotify fallout, and suddenly, the fairy tale started to crack. Back in 2020, the couple had signed a $20 million deal with Spotify. The plan? Launch exclusive podcasts under their Archewell audio banner, bringing uplifting and thought-provoking content to the platform. It sounded like a dream partnership, but behind the scenes, it was chaos. The crown jewel of the Spotify deal was Archetypes, Meghan's solo podcast series, where she interviewed celebrity guests about the stereotypes women face. Names like Serena Williams, Mariah Carey, and Mindy Kaling popped up in the episodes. Meghan framed the series as a personal mission to challenge societal norms and reclaim her voice. But the problem? Only one season dropped. And insiders say Spotify executives were not impressed with the results. According to rumors, Spotify felt the Sussexes were overpaid and under-delivering. And then came the dagger. Spotify and Archewell mutually parted ways in 2023. The deal was quietly terminated, but the silence didn't last long, because then came Bill Simmons. Simmons, Spotify's head of podcast innovation and one of its most powerful executives, publicly slammed Harry and Meghan. On his own podcast, he called them effing grifters, a brutal insult that went viral instantly. Simmons ranted that he was the one who had to brainstorm podcast ideas for them, saying, quote, "I'm ashamed to share Spotify with them." The backlash was immediate. Headlines screamed that Meghan and Harry were cashing in on royal fame, delivering half-hearted content while pocketing millions. The label grifters stuck, and for the first time since their royal exit, the Sussexes were now facing serious reputational damage in Hollywood. Critics began to question, were Meghan and Harry truly passionate about their content, or were they simply milking the monarchy for all it was worth? Insiders whispered that Spotify felt duped. They wanted a blockbuster hit like Joe Rogan's. Instead, they got delayed projects, inconsistent delivery, and low engagement compared to their Netflix success. The failure of the Spotify deal marked a turning point. Public opinion began to shift. Even fans started noticing the couple's shift from vulnerability to what felt like a relentless PR machine. The backlash spread to Archewell itself, with reports that staff were leaving and that the couple's brand was struggling to maintain relevance outside of royal gossip. Meghan's podcast didn't return for a second season. Harry's promised podcasts never appeared, and the lucrative Spotify dream dissolved, with a messy trail of headlines behind it. It was clear the media darlings of the Netflix era were now facing a storm. And that storm was just beginning, because next up came Harry's bombshell memoir, royal lawsuits, Hollywood cold shoulders, and new reports of internal turmoil in Montecito. But that's a story for another day. Thanks for watching Pop Flash, the channel that dives deeper, digs harder, and always delivers the drama you won't see anywhere else. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe for more explosive exclusives, and sound off in the comments. Are Meghan and Harry victims of the system, or savvy operators cashing in? See you in the next one.